Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Arif Zahed. I'm a professional lecturer at American University, computer department, and my specialty is computer programming, robotics, image processing, signal processing, and also I was working on the field of cybersecurity for a couple of years, and I've been working on classroom technology also for about 9 years. And today's presentation is about how we can switch audiovisual devices, not using basically the software comes from the companies with the hardware, and also looking at the higher level, a big picture, using this mechanism to use in the ERP for enterprise resource planning connected to the whole objective of the IT for higher managerial level decision and so on. So my presentation is going to separate in 3 parts. First, I'm very fast introduce about the technology that you all know, and it's about the serial port in audiovisual devices. You know that more than me, all the audiovisual devices can be remotely controlled through the serial port, also known as RS-232 port. And all the equipment on the market you see, like switcher, like video camera, TV, projector, all can be remotely controlled through serial port. So, as you see here, it's a projector like this one here, that you see the serial communication port available. On the DAC camera, it is also available, different sort of the camera. On TV, it's called X-Link, which is 3.5 port jack connected to the RS-232 X-Link connection, and you can remotely control the TV, turn it off, changing the output audio and everything. And in the camera, it is a PS connection that use RS-232 to remotely control the camera for pan, zoom, and else. So, as you see, all of devices using one common properties, RS-232 port for communication. And this is the key to the system I developed, because all of them is a standard protocol for communication, and we use the serial port to control the device. And all we need is 3 wire, as you know, transmission data, receiving data, and ground. So pretty simple. But the problem here, before I get there, and this is the command. This is the command. All the commands are actually transferred in the hexadecimal code to the devices. So it is pretty straightforward. We know the hardware. We know we have already command for it. And so we can use this. But the problem here is that if you want to control this through the computer, you only have one serial port connection by default. So what we should do? Basically, it's come to the virtual serial port on the Windows or other operating system that you can define up to 256 ports as a virtual port on the computer, and that helps you to control up to 256 hardware remotely through your computer. So, how we can do that? We can use by what I did here in my research. I used a USB hub, USB 3, and this USB hub basically has a 8 connection and it generated 8 HDMI virtual ports for me, which some of the virtual ports that I can explain later can control multi-device. So I don't need for basically lots of them, and that goes to the relay that I explained later. So by using the USB hub, I generated lots of virtual serial port. Now I have my hardware part ready. But now to the software. We know that all different places, different organizations using different operating system, which comes to the decision for the operating system. They are multi-platform. So what we can do, some of them run on the Linux, some of them are on the Windows, and some of them on the Apple or Raspberry Pi. So I never saw any organization using Raspberry Pi, but I developed my software to also support Raspberry Pi as an alternative. If the people want to use it, it is very simple, cheap, and very easily to replace, and very affordable. So, in order to do that, we have to come to a system that is able to have a code for cross-platform, multi-platform, which comes to the Embarcable cross-platform application development software, which I picked this one because this is based on object-oriented Pascal. It is absolutely powerful, mostly used in Europe and Russia. And this application, basically, first application, very successful application also in the United States before the company purchased by the Microsoft. And they basically start using Visual, Microsoft Visual development based on this. But Delphi is still on the market from another company called Embarcable, and it is a cross-platform application which I used for this project. And I also used another environment, it's called Lazarus, which is using the same code, but it is open source, doesn't need the license, use the general license, public license for the software. So you can develop your application based on Object Pascal and distribute it without any worry about it. So this is the software I picked for this project. And I developed a software, I called it SmartClass. So this application, as I said, it's a cross-platform application that can run on the Windows, Linux. I didn't test it on the Mac yet, but I tested on the Raspberry Pi as well. And it is basically, you have everything all in one on a laptop as a controlling for switching and many other features that I'm going to explain. And you have one laptop on the podium that works for you both for touch panel and also computer for the presenter. So it is also optional that you can use it as a separate touch panel only for this purpose, or you can have it as a multi-use, not only computer for presenter, but also use it as a controlling the audiovisual in the class. So this is the diagram of the SmartClass operation diagram. This here, you will see this is the touch panel or the software on the computer, Windows tablet, Linux tablet, or Raspberry Pi, or other devices. And this computer here controls all the hardware connected to this computer. It can be a switcher, a matrix switcher 4x4. It can be document camera. It can be conference camera or else, or TV. Or if you have a TV or you have a projector, you can also use this tablet, this software to control. This is the classroom side, actually, and it is also connected to the different relays. So you use the relay for the screen to bring it up and down, or you can use the relay to turn on devices close to the podium as needed. For example, you're in the lab and you need some sort of light for your presentation. So you simply can use the relay to turn on and off the different devices around your presentation for the student to understand, which I show you later on the application. So this area basically is the classroom side, and then it is connected to a support office and remote control monitor. So you are able to use this software to control remotely the classroom and receiving all the information required for the maintenance or any other information you need for preparing the report. So, which I show you again later, and you are also able to control the classroom by turning on and off the devices in case instructor forgot to turn off the class, or in case the instructor don't know how to operate for some reason. So you can remotely let him help him and start the class and the presentation. Another part of this system is the MySQL server, which is basically connected to the system here. And the MySQL server is responsible for all the communication between your client side and your office side for maintenance. Although the system can work offline in case if the server is down. Sometimes it's a concern. But for some hardware, I noticed in the market that if there is no internet or there is no network available for some reason, their system cannot be functioning properly. But here, it's let you to work on the offline or online to run your class properly. It is also help you to not using the UPS. The system can use another technology for emergency like backup. So it's let you to run your class in absolute blackout for 5 hours. So if you have the equipment, which is system support, to your podium, if a blackout happens, you still can run your projector, your computer, your network, and the system is fully functional. Why the UPS is only run for 20 minutes for the computer and shut it down. But for the emergency backup system, you can run the class for 5 hours. Depends on the type of the project or the hardware. So this is something that also I considered on the designing of the project. It's a sustainability, energy sustainability, which is bring a lot of energy, save the energy for the organization, and they don't need to pay. So this is basically the diagram here. And here is basically the features that I defined in the software, which in the next couple of seconds I show you in real time. So this software is able to use any sort of matrix switcher or serial communication port because they are standard. And because you are using a database, you don't need programmer to change it. Because simply, you change the parameter in the database. So if you replace your switcher with another brand of the switcher and the hexa code is different, the serial code is different, you simply change it on your server through the maintenance application you have, and you forget it. So you just change the hardware, different model, and classroom is still working. So this is one of the things that's very helpful in this situation. The system supports single and multi-display. So you can have one display, like here, you can have two displays, you can have extended display, or you can have more for collaboration in case you want to have a room for collaboration with a different student on different TVs or screen. It just also let you to handle that. So you can have the different source for different presentation, different display, which I explained later on the system. As I mentioned, it is fully working offline and online. The GUI is very easily customizable. You can use the logo, background, and whatever you want. The system has a remote access to monitor and controlling the system. The system also has a self-diagnostic capability. Intelligently check the system and generate the ticket from the application regarding to the issue the system found. For example, the system realized that the lamp for your device is not good, it's overdue for replacement. So it automatically generates a ticket and send it to the support office. Or the system realized that it's an hardware issue on the system. It generally, automatically generate a ticket and send the information. So your people doesn't need to get to the class to realize what's happening, maybe in very rare cases, but the system does it for you and help you and help the instructor to basically run the classroom more smoothly. Another thing that the system support is generating reports directly from the instructor on the class, which I'm also going to show you. So consider that it's a bad situation. For example, active shooter in the campus. And you are teaching your class and you are the first person that observed this or realized that this is a very critical situation. So simply through this application, you can generate an emergency ticket which directly goes to the police department and also the administration staff. And it's helped you to make the environment safer for your student. You can send immediately a message that something is going on by just 2 clicks and you're requesting the police. It is also vice versa. So you are teaching and something happened and police want to warn all the student and instructor and staff that something going on, stay on the class. So the center can also send a message to all the classroom or to a specific building that it's something going on, please stay on the class. So you can communicate with the instructor at the same time and basically it's pop up on the screen and the instructor can lock the door or whatever else is necessary to measure there. All right, so this is the emergency messages I just explained, coming to the class point, and
real quick. The text that says active stay in your classroom, does that appear on the display screen or is it on the touch panel interface?
well, it depends how you design your classroom yourself. If you use this software specifically for a touch panel, it shows on the touch panel. But if you are presenting something and you are make a display dual, it is also goes to the display. But if you are presenting, but you are extended, like now, my presentation extended. If something happens on your computer, you cannot see. All right, so you just sit on the computer with the beep that alarm the instructor to notice. All right. Meanwhile, you can use this if you have a PTZ camera. I'm sorry, okay, so if you have a PTZ camera on your classroom or IP camera, you can also start recording your classroom, or you can call a Zoom for the student who are remotely attending to your class. So this is also a very useful feature that you can have your camera capture. The system also can have a automated on itself to turn on and off the devices on a basic schedule. So for example, you can say, I want all the audio devices, audiovisual devices, all the classroom in the whole campuses, turn off at 11:30 p.m. assuming that nobody is there. Or you want to turn it back on for some reason, which mostly the instructor does. So it is also save you energy and also the maintenance part, because your lamp hours, your filter, everything depends on how long the projector or other device works. Another thing that it is very interesting is the fast boot and launching GUI. You all know that all the hardware, when they reboot the system, they take several minutes to come up. Sometimes you need to call classroom office technology to come and check it out. It's taking too much. Or one part is coming up, the other part is not coming up because the touch panel losing the connection between the hardware, the switcher, and so it makes you a hassle back and forth, rebooting this one, rebooting that one. Finally, to figure out what's happening, 30 minutes of the classroom passed. But in this system, it is a very fast boot operating system and GUI on the application. So operating system takes about 2-3 seconds to come up, and the application the same. So you have your classroom ready in less than 10 seconds, which is very impressive and can be basically considered as a point here. Okay, another thing is because all the devices are modular on your side of the classroom, it's not on a huge device. You have all the devices separately, like your USB hub, you separate. You have your HDMI switcher separately. You have actually other. For switching, you just need these two. Micro switcher, very simple, $100. A good one you can find 4x4, being able to remotely control by serial port, communication port, and a USB hub about $45, USB 3. So it is cheap and also very fast replaceable. If something happened, you don't need to waste the classroom for a long time. You just grab the device, put it back, change all, put all the cables, and that's it. Class is up and running. You don't need to bring a lot of equipment to replace a huge device. And as I said at the end here, it is very affordable and safe solution, and no basically expensive hardware required to start this. Okay, this is the interface you see. This interface is on the Windows, compiled on the Windows here. You have the building you are on, classroom, You have four here. I define four screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, screen 4. And here you have the sources: computer, laptop, the camera, and Wi-Fi. So for each one, you simply pick the source, and then you say, I want laptop on this one. Or you pick, for example, source 4, and you say, for source 4, I want the document camera, and for other sources, 1, 2, and 3, I want my laptop. All right? So based on what the requirement of your presentation or your collaboration classroom, you can do whatever you want. You want reverse it or whatever you want. So this is here, you can blank your screen. You are talking about something, and for a while you don't want anybody to see the screen. So you can blank it. You can use the conference camera control right here, zoom in, zoom out, panning, and present 1, present 2, depends on basically what you want to do. Here you have the audio setting control, that all the audio setting, whatever presentation mode you pick, for example your laptop or your computer or whatever, the audio goes through that HDMI and splits from the HDMI matrix switcher to your amplifier or whatever you are using, or can go directly to the projector, and you can control it from here. So you control the audio on the projector here, up and down, mute, or whatever you need based on the presentation. Although if you use the output from the projector as an audio, so you can have control basically through your amplifier or speakers, because the audio is output from the projector and can control it here. So there's this part is the power. You may have different devices around your presentation, as I mentioned, like, for example, different lights, or some sort of microscope connected to the device needs to be powered on. Whatever else you need, you can control here. Although you can extend this power as much as you want. It doesn't need to be 4. It can be more. It depends to the type of relay you pick. You can go up to, what I tested, but up to 32 devices to control it from the software. And here you have the support request. As I mentioned, if something come up, you can ask a support, which I show you in the next couple of seconds in real time. And it is also a fancy watch here, to be even. Sorry. Yeah. So this is basically the environment, and these all come on your computer like this. So this is your computer on the podium, and this is your touch panel. The touch panel, the virtual touch panel, is running on your computer podium. You can use it specifically only for audiovisual control for your classroom, or because it is a real computer, you can also use it as a podium computer at the same time, which saves you probably some money. You simply can minimize it, starting your presentation, or maximize it back to do something else with it. Alright, so far we talked about the classroom side. Now, I want you to take you to the office side, which goes with the automation part and enterprise resource planning. The system, as I mentioned, is able to add tickets or connect to the ticketing system embedded on the application. So the application itself has a ticketing system. So you don't need to go buy a ticketing system as well. The system has it connected to your MySQL server. So you can generate a ticket, you can follow up your ticket, you can have solution in your ticket, and other parameters that I show you the application here. You can follow passing fast. All right. Another thing is the asset management. The system also embedded asset management. So you buying equipment, it's coming as an asset to your system, and you're assigning each equipment to the different classroom. You can also have them in the asset management and track them, which devices is where. Although with the information regarding the support, expiration date of support, and many other parameters that I can show you later. Report generator that can show you how many devices working on the classroom, how many hours they used, how much is the cost of the energy, and any other parameter that's related to the classroom for decision making, for higher management part. The system also has a built-in access control, so you can define different users with different responsibilities and accessing to the device. For example, you can say several pages for monitoring the class, or you can have a IT manager only with the access to the report. So it is also a built-in access control, and it is also fully functional remote support, which let you, as I explained, let you basically do whatever you need to be done remotely. And also emergency call connected to the campus police for emergency cases and using law enforcement. So this is very short. I'm trying to squeeze it a little bit because of time. And this is the ERP part connected backend to the system. And here is the interface, some of the pages on this application. For example, here is the classroom. You can see which classroom is online, in where, how many lab hours used. And if you have a ticket, the ticket also show on the same page front here live when the ticket generates. Although if you have an emergency, it highlighted for you as an emergency ticket added with the sound. So you know that you need to do something very fast regarding to this. It is a ticketing system that lets you generate the ticket on the campus building room, who requested it, who opened the ticket. If computer opened the ticket itself, it's filled by the podium, which means the computer podium generated the ticket automatically. It categorized, you can categorize the incident, what is the issue, the status, it's new, on progress, done, or whatever, and also the issue case. It is hardware, software, training, or something else. This here is the devices I told you about regarding to the going to the classroom. So you can pick which campus, which building, which room is using which devices. So you can have it in the asset management, and you can also come in here and define what is your HDMI switcher, what is your projector or TV, what is the document camera, what is the conference camera, what are the baud rates to connect to the device, what is the port they are using. So whatever needs to be done, you do it remotely. You're changing the port, you're changing the baud rate, depends on the specification of the hardware you are receiving. And you can set on the automation, classroom power off, classroom power on, or standby on which time. You also can have room scheduling for maintenance. You can have the room ticket and changing the background of the touch panel on the glass if needed. Here is the device I told you about regarding to the code. See, this is the hexadecimal code, right? So if you have a new projector or TV, you simply change the parameter here on the server. So if you look, you have here camera, document camera, display, and switcher. So this one now is display. You can have different devices on your server with all the information regarding to the commands, power on, power off, volume off, blank, and all the lamp hours, whatever, and all the information is going there. So you don't need to do anything on the front side of the classroom because the information modified on the back end on the server. You just simply change the equipment and change the parameter here. You don't need a programmer to change it because it's already been changed easily in the back end. Here is the message that you want to send and receive on the classroom. For example, you want to send a message, welcome to new semester, whatever, or anything, and send it to all the classroom or emergency cases, blah, blah, whatever, and simply you can use this part. And here is your inventory and asset management. You have the barcode, device, model, manufacturer, type, serial number, warranty expiration dates, product dates, the purchase dates, value, and support number. So you are adding all the equipment coming to your system, you add it here, and they are all connected everywhere. So whatever you change, you can track it back later. So, sorry, this is the office side, and now let's go to the benefits. Well, I separated to two different tactical and basically strategic benefits. In tactical, it's make the day-to-day classroom operation very simple. It's replacing expensive hardware, touch panel, DM processor, router. The system doesn't need a router. Well, and the touch panel is already the computer. And for the DM processor, you just go and buy a 8x8, 2x2, 16x16, whatever you want. Make the switcher less than $300. And it has a very low cost maintenance, less support staff you need for this system. It saves a lot of energy with the respective to the sustainability, which in American university is very important. It's a part of the strategic plan of the American university. And also in California, I know that they are very sensitive about it. It facilitates the communication within the classroom and fewer phone calls you will receive because you are communicating through the touch panel directly. And basically, regarding to that, you need a less number of the student wages to monitor the classroom. Another part of the tactical benefit is the high availability and the functionality of the system. Because hardware switching system, they basically need to load a framework, which takes a long time. If the framework changed for some reason or updated, the program may not work anymore, and the program needs to be updated based on the new framework. And some issues like that, while on the system, operating system, it's very fast booting up, and the application is also very fast booting up. Although because the system can work on the software side, not on the hardware-based part, you don't need a lot of IP for the system. So not only it's bring the traffic on your network very low compared to the many devices, for example, like NWAX, that it eat all the bandwidth. So this one is very using very slow bandwidth, and just maybe every 1 minute, 1 second, to send a notification to the server. That's it. So it is almost zero. And also it is because it's let you to expand your business, it is very productive for the employee for a different part of the class of technology and IT department. This is the strategic benefits of the system. So, more specifically, it's enhanced the functionality and allow manager to identify spending and about the budgeting and everything, and it leads to save a lot of money for the agency. It eliminates the complexity when you have devices connected to each other in a simple module part, not in everything all in. If something happened, you know that you just replace a small module and the class back on very fast. So it is basically eliminates the complexity of the on that part for the department and bring the performance of the performance of the organization much higher. This is a very short slide, everything in here to review. It's integrated classroom automation based on different operating system. This is the strategic benefit I explained, the tactical benefit, sustainability, using different presentation modes, single, multi, collaboration, different operating system, hardware compatibility with any devices using serial communication, and all the other system I explained around. So, this is the project I was developing for a couple of years, and step by step, let's grow to this point. And if you have any question, feel free. Just drink a little water. Thank you so much for listening, and let me know if you have any question, or yes, please.
So is American University using this for their classroom?
Well, this is on development mode, and we have defined pilot to test it, because system specifically at the support part still need more development. So this is something that we are working on it, but the first part which can be done on the classroom and doesn't need basically to be definitely connected to the back end, it's ready, and it is ready to implement. And so this is something that we are talking with the high-level manager and in the office of the provost to implement this for some classroom and test it, and then on the next level, if if the response were good on the system, slowly by slowly they they use this as an alternative. Yes, please.
Is the thought that this would be made available to other universities, or if you just kind of show this is something y'all develop yourself?
Absolutely. This is basically a project I developed myself, and I'm willing to, if other universities are willing to work on it or have it as a pilot, yes, of course, why not? I can set it up and they can test it and see how it goes. Yeah. Yes, sir.
What type of hardware selection did you choose?
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Hardware did you choose for switching, serial ports, and so on?
Yes.
Are they vendor specific or like?
Okay. So for the hardware, I used Epson projector. I used Samsung TV, which both of them using RS232 port. I used the PTZ camera, which I got it from Walmart, $126, very good deal, 12x zoom. And I also got a used document camera, PTZ, Luminex PTZ, from eBay, $106, which is very cool price, fully functional. And basically for the matrix switcher, I got a matrix switcher on the wall on the Amazon website, 60 hertz 4x4, $109. I can send you guys the link if you're interested. All of the equipment I used. And for the wireless, I also used the HDMI wireless technique, which is a couple of devices available on the market from $20 higher. So it's simple technology. It's nothing very serious about it. So, and for the other equipments, basically the projector TV, the document camera, the matrix switcher, and USB hub. Yeah, nothing else. Yeah. But basically I am communicating with the different companies right now. They're sending me their device that I can test and work on it, and basically use it on the project and return them later to see the compatibility with the application. But the point is, because it is a standard communication protocol, serial port is a standard communication protocol. So if your company has a hexacode ready for different commands, it works. There's nothing to it. Just some tricks for some devices. For example, for Epson projector, you need to not only send the code, but also you need to send an enter code as a hexa at the end of it. Otherwise, it's not working. So this is some tips and tricks here. Or for example, I noticed that for luminance, the camera, the wiring is very weird. It's not a standard, and also it's one directional, so you cannot flip the cable. So the connection through the import for the document camera or luminance and the end of the cable is different. So you cannot use any side. You specifically should wire the cable for connection to the document camera. Yeah, this is the hardware I use, but if you're interested, I can send you guys a list of all the devices so far I tested on this application.
Yes. How many people are on your team working on this project?
Myself,
Just you.
yes. From the designing and software developing,
And you started it from scratch.
yes.
That's impressive. That's a lot of work.
It was, yes, thank you so much. Yeah, and it includes lots of technology to explore. not only the database but also the hardware on the level.
If we were to assume that this were to be implemented in, let's say, 100 classrooms,
Yes.
how many, if you could get, not an exorbitant amount, but like, what would you think the minimal number of like support technicians would be required? I mean, obviously not you. You still got to be available for development, whatever.
Yes.
But like, how many people do you think would need to be able to run the back end support and then run out and make hardware changes as needed and do the checking or whatever else they got to do? What would, if you were supporting 100 classrooms, how many technicians and what roles do you think would be required?
That's a very good question. I didn't, because so far I didn't implement it in a wide range. I cannot say exact number, but I can say that because the application working very smooth and based on my experience in the last several months under pressure, I never saw the application has any problem. So I can say that it is safe to say that, for example, for 20 classrooms, maybe one. But as I say, I'm not sure because it didn't go to a, use landscape implementation. So I cannot be 100% sure to this answer.
Well, and it makes, I'm more just thinking like, where are you with that? Because I do design programming using Crestron and produce something of a similar output where I have control of different things. We monitor them from a distance. We just use a totally different platform, and it is not cheap. But if we were to try to go to something like this, and we just need to know like what type of. My concern would be, like you said, we'd have okay, if the equipment would need goes bad, it could be easily swapped out. Well, we've got to have a technician who knows what the equipment is, knows what is going in, coming out, and can then also once it's put in, have either do the work themselves to reset it, or if it's a slightly different one, they've got to reconfigure it so that specific one is now working in this room and make sure all is working. It seems like a whole lot of moving pieces. I'd be concerned being able to duplicate the understanding required to make each individual piece work. I get the feeling your technicians would have to know a whole lot about what's going on, and then you may have some other folks that just need to go out and show people how stuff is supposed to work.
Okay.
This is from my friend.
Understood. So basically, on the classroom, you just have 3 devices. Your computer, your switcher, matrix switcher, and your hub, USB hub. So all of the cables have a ticket for a different output. So as long as they take this device, a small device, out and unplug all the cable back on, it should not be a concern. So I don't think it's a specific training required. It is simply replacing a device with another device. Exactly identical. Yeah, so there is no technical training or something required, although we provided document everything, but it's not hard, something that's, crazy. Although the application itself can be distributed from as a part of the application distribution on the IT department when they upgrade the computer or sending the new image. They can specifically send a new image to that computer, or it can be replaced by a flash drive or something, in a new version of that computer. So it's also very, very easy and flexible. Just require the simple knowledge of the Windows, copy and paste. Any other question, answer? Thank you so much. I really appreciate listening to this presentation, and I hope it was helpful. And have a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you.